Studies show that 4 out of 5 players say that my inting teammates are what is holding me back in League of Legends. If you need a source for this, just read any of my YouTube comment sections. Maybe this looks familiar. Playing from multiple seasons but not really seeing meaningful progress in your rank. Maybe you'll have 1 or 2 splits where you'll get lucky, or a champion you play is very strong on the patch. Or maybe even with your best efforts, you're finding yourself declining in rank over a long period of time. Or maybe you're playing hundreds of games a season but can't get above or even close to a 50% win rate. But there's more going on here, and we're going to dive into that a little bit today. Step 1, we're going to break down the hidden MMR system and why players get stuck. Step 2, we're going to show what loser's Q or ELO Hell is and why it feels like it's so real for some people. And step 3, I'm going to help you guys get some control back over your games, because I feel like that's probably the single most important thing. And we're going to get to that at the end. But before we do that, we have to understand what we're working with here, because I think, as Batman Begins once said, we always fear what we don't understand, right? I think that's the quote. So let's hop into it. First of all, about me real quick. I'm a little bit of an ancient being, an ancient one, an elder dragon, some might say. I'm getting up there in age, but I'm still hip with the kids. Right now, I know that the chill Grinch right now with the knee surgery and the bruz and the huzz, that's all the fire on TikTok right now, so don't count me out. I know my shit. But I'm also an anthropologist. What this means is I have my degree in studying people, culture, and how people think. I worked previously with Cloud9 for a couple of years. I worked with an EU org called Flame Hard, where I won an ERL at an org called Supernova in NA, and they play at the tier 2 and tier 3 level. I have experience with many games like Valorant, PUBG, League of Legends, CSGO, many, many more. So I kind of use all of my backgrounds in different games and my education and my passions to help make content that helps people improve inside and outside of the game. Before we start, I do want to say a couple of things, because I already know I'm going to get flagged by some people in the comment section. Here's what I'm not saying. I am not saying League of Legends is an easy game and you shouldn't ever get mad. I'm also not saying that you are to blame for your inting teammates. I think people who int or soft int or who grief or who troll should be banned, and those people are disgusting and make this game less fun for everyone else to play. I am also not saying that you should be able to perfectly control your emotions all the time. You are not a robot. You are a human being. You are allowed to feel upset. What I am saying is ranked can be frustrating. I am saying that inters suck and should be banned and punished. And I am saying your feelings and your emotions are normal, but it is how you act on those emotions that is within your control. I made a very, very cool video on why you tilt in League and how to stop. So you should check that out in the meantime. So had to point that out before we go on here. So let's talk about it. So to begin, MMR, this is your matchmaking rating. It's a hidden number that Riot gives you that is made up of a combination of various metrics. These metrics are actually not shared with the public. So no one actually knows what exactly goes into somebody's MMR, but it governs what we do care a lot about, or a lot of people care a lot about, which is LP, or your league points. This is the visible rank you see on your account. The amount of LP you gain is correlated to your hidden MMR. And like I said, the mechanisms behind MMR and LP are purposefully kept hidden. The most they'll tell you is you win a game, you gain LP, you lose a game, you'll lose LP. Anything more that they share about this could potentially compromise the integrity of the MMR system, meaning people will figure out a certain thing will help me gain more LP, but that thing might not necessarily help my team win the game. For example, there was an epidemic of people spamming control wards in their fountain at the end of a game, even when they're losing, because op.gg would give the MVP for the losing team based on control wards as a pretty heavy metric for that. So people were trying to abuse that, and that was on op.gg, a third-party site. So imagine what people would do to get more or lose less LP instead of trying to win the game if they knew the hidden systems behind what makes your MMR and LP change more or less. Now that we know the difference between MMR and LP, let's talk about MMR elasticity. When your MMR is elastic, it's able to be changed or influenced more easily. So think of a new account. When new accounts are either hopefully made, I don't want to condone anyone buying Smurf accounts, they're usually assigned a gold level MMR, or at least this used to be the case, but their visual rank used to be silver to bronze in that area. And this wasn't necessarily a problem, because what would happen here is you would play your first game and you would quickly find yourself moving up or down into the rank you deserved. But this resulted in, great, I'm new to the game and all of a sudden I'm playing in a game against gold, silver, or maybe even plat players. And this was kind of ruining the experience from people. But because of how elastic the MMR is, after a couple dozen games, the system had a decent idea of what skill level that player was. So MMR adjusts quickly during the first 50 to 100 games as the system gathers data on player skill, which is why for new accounts, you'll see players who go like 40-0, these challenger players. They'll go 40-0 and they'll be like Emerald or Diamond 4 in their first 40 games, but they'll be playing in master tier lobbies because they're undefeated. And because the account was so fresh, the MMR was loose enough where it was able to expand sharply based on winning 40 games in a row. But the more games you play, the more sure the system is that you belong in your rank. Remember earlier when we showed these win rates? Players at these win rates who win a lot of games in a row, like let's say this person in the top left who's played almost 500 games, just wins 20 games in a row. If this was a gold player who won 20 games in a row, 20 straight wins in a row, they would almost definitely be playing now at a physical rank of platinum, and maybe the people in their game would be mid to high platinum. But if somebody on an unranked account, completely unranked, won 20 games in a row, their first 20 games in a row, they would be playing around an emerald to diamond level because their MMR here, this is that person who played 20 games, won all 20 of them straight in a row on a fresh account. And this is somebody who's played 300, 400, 500 games who wins 20 games. The system is now more sure that that player belongs at gold, meaning even if that player does perform very well, wins a whole bunch of games, well, sure, congratulations, you've won 20 games, but now you're balancing that out on 500 games. Compared to 500, 20 is not a massive drop in the bucket. To this, the system, it indicates that you are improving, but it's the same with any large data set. The more data it has, the more sure you are you belong at your rank. But this can feel very frustrating for some players who are like, look it, I'm improving, I'm growing, I'm winning a whole bunch of my games, but this is how the system should function. But why? There's two reasons. One, it's to stop players from ending up at ranks they do not belong at long term. If I'm that player, that gold player from the last example, like let's say I was gold and I won 20 games in a row and now I'm plat. Well, there's a chance that these 20 games were a result of maybe I duoed with somebody. Maybe I played my champion and it was very, very strong on the patch. So maybe you won these games and in the short term, you got to this rank. But what the system doesn't care about is these short-term wins and short-term gains. The system will always equalize your win rate as much as possible. So as you climb in rank, it will put you against harder opponents. And if you deserve that rank, you will stay at that rank because you will maintain a 50% win rate at that rank. What happens here then is if players win a whole bunch of games and then lose games, they will go right back down because the system does not think, okay, they got up to that rank, therefore they deserve that rank instantly. They need more data of that player being at that rank. The other one is to negate luck as much as possible. The closer to 50% win rate you get, the more even your LP gains are. Once again, because the system's primary goal is to put players at the rank they deserve. You are at the rank you deserve when you win about as many games as you lose. So in this 49 to like 51% range, this is what the game is going to try and do. If you're at a 49 or 48 and below, what the system is going to do, it's going to put you with players lower ranked than you because it believes that you belong at a lower rank and it's trying to give you easier matches to get your win rate closer to 50. If your win rate is over like 52%, it's going to put you against harder players because it believes that the games are too easy and you need to play against tougher opponents to bring your win rate down closer to 50%. Let's look at the average ranked experience that a lot of players go through. We're going to start left to right here. Maybe somebody will, at the start of the split, because ranked MMR is not only elastic for fresh accounts, it's also somewhat elastic at the beginning of a ranked split because they reset your rank. Sometimes it's a harder reset, sometimes it's a softer reset. But what resets here is, like, let's say you were at gold at the next split, they'll reset you and you'll be in silver, but your MMR elasticity will be much more loose. So now before the system was sure you're gold and now your visible rank is silver, but now the system's not so sure. They're like, the system thinking, okay, maybe this person could be plat or maybe this person could be, silver. Who knows? So now it's up to you to use these games at the beginning of your split to show the system exactly where you belong. So start of the split, MMR is elastic. You'll notice your LP gains are high. This is very true in placement games where you're getting plus 40, 50, 60 LP. And even at the beginning of the split where you'll get something like plus 25 or plus 30. So here, as you see, the purple line is your hidden MMR. The green line would be your visible rank. So starting off the split, maybe your MMR is around the gold level and your visible rank is, maybe mid to high silver. Cool. So you play games, and as you're playing the games, your visible rank goes up and your MMR goes up. But now you've played, 60-ish games, 60 to 70. This is an arbitrary number. It could be 40 games. It could be 80 games, depending on how your win rate is, the frequency of your play. Your win rate starts settling. Remember, because how I said before that if you have a very high win rate, like look at this straight up incline. This is a person who's winning a lot of games. They're probably 55+% win rate. The higher your win rate, the better opponents you will face. There will become a point where if you're not a challenger player, you will start playing against players that are too good for you to beat more than 55% of the time. So now your win rate drops. As your win rate drops and you play more games, the system now gets more info about your true level of skill. And now your LP gains start to normalize. Instead of plus 25 or plus 30, Now it's plus 22 or 23. This should be pretty normal for you. But then we come to a problem, or maybe not a problem, but the system working as intended, but players perceiving this as a problem. We have a bit of ELO Hell, or I'm stuck in this ranked. And what this is your visible rank is higher than the MMR that you have. And this is going to cause your LP gains to be negative. This is where you'll see your plus 25s, plus 15 minus 24. This is where maybe you're playing and you have a loss streak of like 10 games, happens to the best of us. But now all of a sudden you're down a whole bunch of games. And even if you win 5 games in a row, lose 2, win 3 games in a row, lose 1, your MMR still has not recovered to where it was before. So your MMR is below your visible rank. And now the system is like, hey, you lost those 10 games in a row and went from all the way up here down to here. We think you now belong at this new rank because of those losses. And people feel discouraged there. But this is a temporary thing. This meme here pretty much encapsulates what I'm getting at when it comes to people getting stuck or feeling like they're not making as much improvement as they want. You'll have somebody who over the past 20 games has a 60% win rate and they'll feel really good. They'll say, man, I've won 12 out of my past 20 games. My KDAs are decent. My kill percentage is good. Why am I not climbing? The unfortunate truth of the matter is this is just a drop in the bucket compared to their most recent 100 games where they're at a 45% overall win rate. And the system doesn't care that you've had a pretty good couple of days with 60% win rate. The system cares that you have played 100 games and you are negative win rate, meaning you are playing above an ELO that you deserve. The system wants to get you to that 50% win rate. So now it's going to try and take your rank down as much as possible until you reach the level where you're able to consistently, not over short term, but over a long period of time, play at above a 50% win rate. The analogy I would use here is, let's say you're at a casino and you start with $1,000. In the first hand or the first couple of hands, you lose it all the way down to $100. And now over the course of the entire night, through grueling effort, you double your money and now you double that money again. And now you get like an extra 100. And now, okay, cool. I went from 100 and now I have 200. Now I have 400 and now I have 500. Holy cow, I'm 500, dude. Like, look at how good I did tonight at the casino. But you have to remember your roots. You came in here with 1,000 and it doesn't matter how good you did the rest of the night when you lost all of this to begin with. You were still not even back to where you started yet. And I think that's where a lot of people find frustration. And I'm not saying you shouldn't feel frustrated. I've been here before. I've had really good days and really good weeks or really good months, but then I've had really bad splits. Now that we know how MMR works, now that we know how LP is influenced by MMR and why the system cares more about your long-term performance rather than it does your short-term win streaks or loss streaks. So what can you do about this, right? So if you're in the 0 to 99 games played zone, you are somebody who has a short-term negative win rate, but the system does not have enough data for it to have accurately placed you yet. Your MMR is still elastic enough where if you play well and you win games, you will not be stuck at a rank you don't deserve, period. So play the game. I'm sure everyone here who is coached or knows a friend has heard them say, oh, I'm so stuck, I can't climb. And then they look and they've played 15 games with like a 40% win rate. I'm sorry, you just haven't played the game enough for one, for you to even exhibit your skill, but two, for the system to even understand where you belong at skill-wise. When you have over 150 games, that's where you can be like, okay, the system now knows where I belong more or less. What can I do about it? So that's step one. Just queue up. Just play the game. When you do play the game, though, this is called the best of 3 method. And this is a great way if you're a tilter or if you're somebody who struggles with spamming too many games to find value in your game. So let's break it down really quick. In the best of 3 method, we play games like we're playing rounds in a tournament. Like this is your round 1 of your tournament match. So you queue up here and you say, okay, I'm going to play a best of 3. If I win the best of 3, I go to round 2. If I lose the best of 3, I'm done, at least for a couple of hours. Maybe the whole day, depending on how tilted you are, but at least a couple of hours. So round 1, I queue up. I lose the first game. Wow, that sucks. But then I win the next 2. So now I'm 2-1. I won my best of 3, and now I'm up 1 win on the day. So I play another one. The important thing here, though, in between each game, I recommend a break, but also in between best of 3s, I recommend at least a 15-minute break. Stretch, walk around, do something that's going to move your body around because no one can focus for the entire day at their top performance. You need a break. So I won my round. I play round 2. I win game 1. Great. I lose game 2, but it was a close game. I'm still playing well. And then I win game 3, but now I'm kind of getting a little bit tired. Great. I went 2-1 this block, but now I'm up 2 wins for the day. Over the entire day, I'm up 2 games now. So now when I take this break, I ask myself, all right, I've played 6 games already, and I lost this game that I felt I maybe should have been able to carry, and I won this game, but I definitely feel myself getting tired. So now you ask yourself, okay, Do I even play round 3 or do I call it for right now? And in this example, I played round 3 and I did win this game, but I didn't have an impact in it. And then I lost these 2 in a row, which means that I lost my best of 3, which means I was done for the day. But even still, I come out of this day having played 9 games, up 1 win. This means I avoid going on loss streaks. I'm able to pace myself after each block and more easily find good places to take breaks or to get snacks or to take care of my physical and mental health. So I'm not just spamming the game all day without learning. It's not completely foolproof because like if every day you queue up from round 1 and you just lose your best of 3-0-2 and you do that for an entire week, you will just go down LP. But at least this puts you in the best possible scenario to make the most of the situation. Another thing you can do is start setting and tracking your goals. So this is a little bit of a selfless plug here, or selfish plug, I should say. But these are 2 screenshots from my free improvement tracking database that I put up, or I made. I did a video on it. The spreadsheet information is linked in the description below. If you want to see the video that goes down in detail on how to use it and how to implement it in your improvement, you just got to check out up here. It's going to pop up here in a sec. Boom. So essentially what this does is if you want to improve at anything, maybe you go to the gym. You don't just go to the gym and you just start like throwing around shit and expect to get stronger. Like, no, you go in, you're like, okay, today is cardio. I want to walk on the treadmill. Today is chest day. I want to hit some chest workouts. I want to do some incline bench. I want to do some, pec flies. I want to do some like dumbbell presses, right? You pick stuff to do on the day. And then if you're really serious about making improvement on that, you're going to track, okay, how fast did I run that mile? How heavy were the dumbbells? How many plates did I have? And over time, you're going to see, oh, okay, wow, I'm tracking this and I'm adding a little bit each week and you're going to make progress. The same is true for League of Legends. Obviously, there's no plates, there's no dumbbells, there's no mile markers in League of Legends, but there is things that you can track. For example, you can track how your matchups play out. What, like when you died, what killed you, how, like who killed you, things that you noticed in the matchup that can help you play this same matchup better in the future. You can also track your habits, like how often are you playing the game? What other things are you doing in your day that lead up to you playing the game? Are you making sure to take care of your, like, you getting something to eat? Are you like cleaning yourself? Are you have like other responsibilities you need to do in your day? All of these things can affect your performance. So tracking them at least a little bit is going to help you immensely in playing your games at a higher level of consistency. So check that out in the description, by the way. Sticking to a small champ pool and your main role or roles is also going to help because this is beautiful. I purposely left this player's name out. This is a player that I was actually talking to earlier this day, the same day I'm filming this. This is a player who has a 50% win rate, actually technically slightly less than 50% win rate in silver, 80 wins, 81 losses, asked, why am I still not able to climb? Why am I at 50% win rate? And then I look down below. Their best champion by far is Garen. Look at this CS per minute, 8 CS per minute, 3.57 KD, not like the best ever, but definitely a green KD. This is good. 55% win rate, but oh, what's this? 32 games played of a 30% win rate Camille. Not good CS, not good KD. By not sticking to the champions or the champion pool that this player is skilled at, he is literally just hamstringing himself to being in silver, where if he played Garen up until this point, he would be back in gold without a doubt in my mind. This doesn't mean you have to one trick, but what this does mean is if you want to find improvement or to climb in ranked, this player needs to put more time into Camille in norms or in practice tool, or maybe looking up builds or watching one tricks play or doing 1v1 matchups with their friends or anything to build more champion mastery on Camille, because they've got it with Garen, but they're just shooting themselves in the foot by just playing Camille. Stick to what you know, and if you want to know something more, you got to put in the work to learn it. You can't just expect, I'm a gold player now, I can play every champion. Nope. You can only play the champions that you use to get to gold at a gold level. Anything else, you got to bring them up to that level. You've all heard this before, but please, for the love of God, use the dodge feature. I'll ask you a question. What's worse? -5 LP for dodging when you have a troll in your game, or dodging when people are like half your lobby is saying I'm off-rolled or auto-filled, or maybe you've got an all AD team comp and they pick Malphite Rammus, or all AP team comp and they pick Maokai Dr. Mundo or Galio. Take the -5 LP, reset your mental, and then queue up again after 6 minutes? Or do you take the -20 LP from playing a game that, sure, there's a chance you can win. No game is absolutely unwinnable, but if you know the game is going to be tough on your mental health, a waste of your time to play, specifically due to griefers, inters, or off-rolled players, take the -5 LP and chill out. Even 2 dodges, your second dodge of the day, -15 LP is still better than -20 LP in extreme scenarios where you know you're going to have a miserable time. And then even 3+ dodges, you still only lose 15 LP, but you're just locked out for 12 hours. Like, that's crazy, but hopefully you're not having to dodge 3+ times. I'm not telling you to abuse it. I'm just telling you that if you need it, your first dodge of the day, should almost be not mandatory, but you should look to use this pretty liberally. This might be folklore, so don't quote me on this, but dodges do not affect your MMR. This used to be a trick people did back in Masters, by the way. They would get up to like 99 LP, or sorry, they get up to their Masters promos, which is 100 LP Diamond 1, and then they would win 2 games, and then they would dodge the rest of the 3 games in a row. This would lose them their promos, because Master promos used to be a best of 5, and this would put them back out of promos, and then they'd win back into promos, win the first 2 games again, then dodge, get knocked out of promos. And what would happen here is they would still be Diamond 1, bouncing between Diamond 1 and Masters promos. And then when they finally promoted into Masters, they would have like the MMR of like a challenger player, even though they were Masters 0 LP. Okay, but what if you're someone who has 100 or more games played? Like, what do you do? So you basically have 2 options. You can wait until the split or season is over and MMR elasticity loosens, which is fair criticism. Maybe you've played 400 games, you have a 45% win rate. You're saying, okay, if I really did want to grind this out, it's going to take me at least another 150 games of playing consistently at a 55% win rate for me to even out my win rate. Maybe that's something you want to do. Maybe that's something you don't want to do. Waiting until the split or season is over is a viable option. You could also grind out a Smurf account from the sponsor of today's video. I'm just kidding, dude. That was a little, what is that? That was a little clickbait, a little jump scare right there. I will never take sponsorships from those disgusting pig Smurf selling account sites. If you want a Smurf, grind it out on your own. Don't buy botted accounts from shady people who are going to get your shit deleted or who steal it from other people. But actually, there's another third hidden option here. Your third hidden option is play the game. Even if you are not climbing in ranked, if you play the game at a negative win rate and you still focus on trying to win or trying to improve, you will get better at the game. So when the split does happen or you do get a new account, you're at least going to have the skills backed up from playing the game that is going to result in you climbing in the future. It's just, you're not going to climb immediately because your MMR has settled a bit. But no matter what, if you're a brand new player, if you're an old player, if you're ancient elder dragon like me, elder god, eldritch god, you have to play the game understanding that climbing will be slow. Remember, the MMR system cares about consistency. Unless you're a completely baby fresh vanilla account with 0 games played on it, you will have existing MMR. Your MMR will not be as elastic as a new account, so you will have to prove to the system that you deserve to climb in rank. This does not mean you can win 5 games in a row as a gold player and then magically believe that you deserve diamond, but this does mean that if you play 100 games and you go 55 wins, 45 losses, the system will be like, oh dang, this player is way better than the rank they're at. They deserve to go higher. No matter what, set a routine and take breaks. What does this look like? Well, when I showed you the best of 3 method, and how to do habits and tracking in your matchups. These are both things that help immensely, as well as taking breaks. You can use those breaks to review the first 5 or 10 minutes of your past game. If you want some tips on making VOD reviews easy, even if you're a player who doesn't have experience doing VOD reviews, just let me know in the comments and maybe I'll do a video on how to efficiently VOD review your own games. You also need to prioritize your physical and mental health. These are both extremely important. I know when I come back from the gym and I shower, I have a light snack and some water, I'm feeling just completely energized and ready to play, and I play much better than if I slept like shit, hopped out of bed, I feel gross, and then I try and play the game. If you're tilted, take a breather. A lot of people will say, no, I'm not tilted, and then I look at their match history and they've lost the past 3 games in a row. You're tilted, dude. Shut up. Like, you don't get brownie points for acting tough or like a badass. Like, bro, it's okay. Losing sucks. I get it. You're not perfect. These are the same people that tell me, though, that that League of Legends is disgusting and rank sucks, and they'll crash out in my DMs and then they'll tell me that they're not tilted. It's okay. You're a human being. You're allowed to feel emotions. Just take a break, take a breather. And lastly, when you are in game, you need to minimize distraction. This means if you're in a call with your friends, consider muting or deafening when you're playing your game. Lock the fuck in, dude. This is your time. Your games matter. If you're not playing the game to win, or at least putting your effort into it, you're not going to have a good time. And as we saw, especially towards the beginning of the split or on a new account, those games really do matter for showing the system what MMR you believe in over a long period of time. If you fuck up one game, or if you don't lock in for one day of a couple games, it's not the end of the world. But if you do this every time you play, playing in a crowded Discord call where somebody's trying to get you to look at their screen share, and they also want you to go hang out in a little bit, and maybe you're getting dragged around or you're trying to have a conversation, you're not going to play at your best. And this is going to show in your gameplay and in your win rate over a long period of time. Important. You do not deserve anything. You will have bad games or bad weeks or potentially even a bad split. These screenshots at the bottom, this is Coach Kire. This guy was challenger, multi-season, disgustingly high elo. He was stuck in diamond temporarily. But look at how many games he played. He was over 100 games, 140-ish games, diamond 2. He eventually got back to challenger, This guy's great at the game, smart dude, good coach. If he can be stuck in diamond as a player at this skill level, you can be temporarily stuck at a rank that you, I'll say, don't deserve. The issue here is you can't say you don't deserve it if you play another 100 games or another 200 games or another 300 games and you're still at that rank. If you belong in a higher ELO, consistently playing well will, not maybe, will result in you climbing. So if this was any other player, if this was me, for example, I'm not an 1800 LP challenger player. I'm just not. And that's okay. I've made my peace with that. If this was me, I would be perennially stuck compared to this guy. But because he's consistently playing well, it doesn't matter that he'll have momentary setbacks. He will climb. Don't get it confused, and be careful not to fall in the pitfall of, oh, well, I could be this rank. I just don't play the game. This guy has consistently been this rank in the past. He puts in the work. At this point, he was not a challenger player. He was stuck in diamond, but because he deserved to climb, he did climb through consistently playing well. And remember, rank should never be your goal because your rank is not within your control. Only your goals are. What I mean by this is you are just one player in a game with 10 players. If you play well, doesn't mean you deserve to win. It just means that you played well. The other 9 players also have an impact and influence on the outcome of that game. If you make progress towards your goals, you will climb because your goals reflect things within your control. You get better at last hitting minions, you get better at laning, you get better at jungling, you get better at other aspects of the game that you can track. That will result in you winning more games over time. And remember, it doesn't matter about your 5 games, it doesn't matter about 10 games, it matters about long period of time and consistency. So now with this understanding, get out there, start grinding the game, and have a little hope, even if you're somebody with a couple hundred games and a negative win rate, that it's not doomed forever.